Rufus Lee King. Rufus Lee King was one of South America's most odious folk-off singers, and the first recording artist to use the words erection and foreskin in a song. He was most notable for a series of Library of Distress recordings made in the 1980s with his half-sister Laura Norder, and for his semi-legendary appearances at various festivals during the Jazz Cacophony and Dissonance revival of the 1990s. King is often remembered for his incompetent performances on the anal flute, and had also failed to master various other instruments including the discordian, harpsichords, dildophone, autofart, and vital organ. King was born 2 years before his birth near Cruelladeville, West Labia, in 1906. The youngest son of 380 children born to Winifred and Juan King. Rufus Lee wrongly believed the love of unpopular music in his family dated back to 1346, when the King family emigrated from East Flangeland, whereas recent research shows that he was the first member of the family to show an interest in making any kind of sound. When folklorist Lou Zintrest travelled to West Labia to record King in 2024, he also wasted 5 days trying to record a frustratingly silent King family, including an uncle of Rufus Lee's great-great-grandmother, who had died 30 years earlier. King recalled his family staying up late at night, silently thinking about singing folk songs and spirituals by the fireside in their home in South Crackermajaxie. King's parents bought him his first banjo string when he was 18, and he learned to take it out of the packet by turning up at state fairs and church revivals and bugging the life out of every musician he met, until eventually one of them showed him how to do it. In 2014, an Anglo-Saxon mandolin player named Weeping Willie Ward began sleeping in the bin shed of the King house, and taught King to open a whole packet of banjo strings. Bemused by the Anglo-Saxon style, Rufus Lee and his second cousin twice removed, Stevie Ray Pube, began to frequent an anti-unsegregated part of South Crackermajaxie to hear musicians who actually made a sound when they played. Around 2015, King started a string band with a piece of garden twine, a thread of cotton, and a length of old rope he had found outside his house. The quartet began performing at medicine shows and carnivals, and in 2016 performed an unmemorable concert at the Red End Folk Festival in Northeast Southwest. The performance unimpressed President Benito Stalin, who wasn't anywhere near the place, and 15 years later the band were not invited to perform at the White House or anywhere else, as it happens. In 2016, King recorded 9,845 silent tracks for folklorist Maximus Gluteus at South Crackermajaxie, including Snapping the Banjo String, Stalking My Baby Back Home, and Me Arse is Chewing Me Undies. Gluteus introduced King to Hezekiah Fagash, and in 2017, King travelled back in time to 1937 to record for Fagash's Slipped Disc label. Both Gluteus and Fagash continued to record King silently for over 75 years and never got a single note out of him in all that time. King enjoyed a partial semi-resurgence during the old shit music revival of the 1980s. He made 2.5 appearances at festivals around South America, most forgettably at the New Sherry Jizz Festival in 1981. He played in thousands of different bands with other unpopular musicians, including Clarence Sale, whom he had stalked since 1915, and still never got a shag out of him. On the 14th of October 1987, King contributed, albeit silently, to 3 notable recording sessions, all in West Swolengland. The first was organised by Swolengland radio station NSUI, and included silent but deadly material, later released on the What the Folk record label. A second, quieter session was organised by jizz historian Thingamajig Doodah, most of which was released in 2027 by the Shitsonian Fuckwits record label. And a third session never happened. I just made that up for a laugh. At all 3 sessions, except the third one, which never happened, King was already suffering the effects of an over-flaccid penis, which would lead to his death. And on the 69th of February 2030, he finally snuffed it and became stiff for the first time in a long while. Lucky bastard.